So is your guru a true teacher, or is your teacher legit? Let's ask some of the hard questions and see if maybe perhaps we can come up with some answers. My name's Amy, the Alchemistic, and today I have a point to make, and the way that I'm going to make it is by telling you a bit of a story. Disclaimer, I mean no offense to anyone that might be able to relate with this story and may not agree with my take, but gotta share what I found out. So a full decade ago, in the summer of 2015, I spent my summer uni break traveling in India for a few months. Now, when I went to India, it was very clear to me that I was not there on a spiritual quest. My feet were well and truly on the path of self-mastery, spiritual sovereignty, and personal growth and transformation. I had well and truly left organized religion behind me with a very strict Mormon upbringing. I'd left the path of externalized devotion, and I was well and truly focused on sinking all the way in, finding and locating the God within all things. In the years leading up to my trip to India, I had experimented with a few spiritual things, though admittedly not with many, because a lot of the spiritual movements and organizations that I came across set off my heebie-jeebie alarm big time. There seemed to be a lot of ego and a lot of self-inflation, which seemed contradictory and counteractive to what I felt to be the true path of spirituality, which was all about love and transcending the ego in order to have the experience of returning to a state of unity and oneness. The way that I saw it, it was cool, I guess, to be able to tell someone that their aura was a funny olive green color, or to reveal to someone that they had been a seamstress in France in the 1800s. But these spiritual tricks seemed to produce either one of two outcomes. So either these revelations about themselves would cause people to judge themselves, beat themselves up, and give themselves a hard time, or it could be a reason to become unjustly and egoically inflated and to start drifting off and having the feeling of being superior. And to me, that seemed a bit kind of pointless and redundant. Unless spiritual gifts were used to reveal some kind of truth to a person which allowed them to become more now, they seemed kind of frivolous and in some cases straight up anti-spirituality, growth and development. The man who later on became my spiritual teacher and who is now, along with his wife, my work colleague, and both of them my best friends, shout out to Michael and Segalen of the Cosmosis Mentoring Center, often asks his students the question, what does that have to do with grounding and expressing love? And to me, that question really sums the whole thing up. Yeah, that's great, but what does it have to do with anything? Does it actually produce an outcome of love? A great many things are kind of just art for art's sake, or it's just someone having a little bit of a spiritual wank. The outcome is of no real, tangible substance, change, and transformation. So to me, being able to tell someone that their aura was a funny olivey green color was only useful if I had the tools that were necessary that I could pass and teach on to them to help them to heal. Revealing to someone that they had been a seamstress in France in the 1800s was only useful if there was something from the experience that they could extract which would allow them to be even more here now. All of our spiritual work and spiritual insight should be about initiating and enabling very real and tangible transformation and change now, so that we can become the best ideal versions of ourselves now and be helpful and useful now. Anything else is just about the ego. You aren't necessarily the most loving person in the room now because of something that happened 500 years ago. And at the end of it all, the amount of knowledge that you go to your grave containing in your human mind amounts to nothing. What matters and what the value of your life is measured by is how much love you brought here, how much better off this place is for you having existed, how much you impacted other people and helped other people to heal and to realize more of their own potential. The service work and your contribution is here now. So already my spiritual pursuit was about practical, tangible self-transformation and betterment so that I could be a positive and uplifting influence on other people. The goal of my self-empowerment was to guide others to their own empowerment, reconnecting with the God within them. I wanted to heal and grow and realize and be transformed so that eventually perhaps I could help others to do the same. I'd seen too many people sacrifice their spiritual sovereignty on the altar of some God who was meant to relieve them of their sins and save them from this place. But I knew and I felt that this place was where we needed to be. Because this place is where the love and the healing is most needed. I'd moved far beyond spirituality being some woo-woo, magical, high and egoically satisfying thing. I was in for the hard work and the long road. I wanted to go deep within, pull myself apart, and find out what remained when all of these false layers were stripped back. Because whatever it was that remained through it all and that remained at the depths and underneath it all, surely that was the truth. And surely that was what I was meant to be aiming for. So I wanted to realize and unleash that truth within. So that's my roundabout way of saying that I wasn't in India for spiritual pursuit. I knew what I was looking for, and me and India just had some unfinished business. So while I was over there, I ended up spending a month studying Ayurvedic massage and panchakarma therapy. I was going to school every day, and I was rounding out my holistic healing toolkit. And it just so happened that while I was studying at this school of Ayurvedic medicine, that a guru was coming through town, a big name guru that traveled the world. And this guru was the Guru Amma, the mother, a woman who shared compassion and love for her followers through a hug. I'd never heard of her before, but some of the people who were studying with me were very excited to go and see her. I was very curious because I'd never seen a guru before. I'd never seen all of that in action before. And I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see what it was about. I wanted to see if there was anything to it. So I went along with them. It was a massive event. There was this enormous building just full of people, merchandise being sold everywhere, food stalls, people queuing up for hours and hours and hours, going all the way out and down the street, just waiting their turn to get a hug from Amma. So we got in the queue and patiently waited our turn. While we were waiting, I noticed that there were a lot of people swarming around Amma that were dressed all in white. And a great majority of them weren't Indians. I was in a city in India where there weren't that many tourists. So these pale-skinned, white-robed people that were filling the place were really noticeable and really stood out to me. And again, I was really curious. They filled the stage all around her and they were siphoning people in, taking their bag, leading them to Amma to have their hug and then guiding them off the stage, organizing and facilitating the whole thing. And there were hundreds of them. And I mean hundreds of them, filling the stage, but also all off the stage, beyond the stage, working in the background. And because I was waiting in the queue for a very long time, I decided to go exploring. So I went to where they were, really curious about what they were doing and what their motivation was. I wandered around amongst them and found out that a lot of them lived in Amma's ashram, and a great bulk of them actually followed her all around the world. Hundreds of these followers that would just go from country to country and place to place with her, basking in her love and compassion and helping others to efficiently do the same. Their whole lives, at that time anyway, were dedicated to this guru and the love that they felt emanating from her. And it fascinated me. They were devoted to her. And I was so curious about what motivated them that I hoped that I'd get the opportunity to sit down with one of them and have a conversation. I genuinely wanted to kind of pick their brain and pick their heart and find out what kept them there, what they were getting from the experience, and how they were growing and evolving through the experience that they were having with Amma. While at the event, I didn't get the opportunity to have a full conversation. They were busy and very focused in on themselves and what they were doing, but I still hoped. So anyway, after hours of waiting, eventually my turn rolled around and I got up on the stage where she was sitting. My bag was taken from me. I was guided to her and I crouched down to receive a hug from Amma. I was really open to it being a transcendental and deeply moving and loving experience. I had already found love in the most interesting places and I was open to receiving love from wherever it came. So I had my hug with Amma, and she was obviously a very lovely, sweet, genuine, caring, compassionate woman. And the love of a mother really did ooze from her. But for me, despite my openness to having a surprising experience, it wasn't transcendental. It was just a nice hug with a very, very nice and special woman. And I walked away relatively unchanged, but curious, mostly about the people that were following her. A few days after the event, I found out that one of Amma's followers had decided to sign up for an Ayurvedic massage course at the school where I was studying. And that evening we were out for dinner at a restaurant somewhere in the city and she happened to join us. I kind of hoped that I'd get the opportunity to talk to her, and as luck would have it, she sat down right next to me and I had the opportunity to have a full deep discussion with her, which she was very, very open to. And I asked her all sorts of questions about her experiences with her guru, which she was very happy to answer. I asked her all about her day-to-day living and her experience and what she spends her days and her times doing. And then I started to ask her about what draws her to her guru and what she gets and gains from the experience. And what this woman shared with me was that when she was in her guru's presence, she felt overwhelmed by a clear and pure unconditional love that she found deeply moving. And I thought that was awesome. I think love is great. And so I asked her, is Amma's love reminding you of and reconnecting you with your own love? And she seemed a bit confused by my question, because for her, she was sitting in Amma's love and she was just receiving Amma's love. The experience reminded her that love is real and that love is the goal, but she couldn't really comprehend my pointing towards the love that was within her. The experience for her was you sit in the guru's presence and you bathe in their energy and their love, and somehow through that process of just bathing in someone else's energy and someone else's love, you gain enlightenment. And so I pressed her further. Is your guru teaching you how you can love like that as well? No, as though it hadn't occurred to her. And I said, because you know that the love that's radiating from Amma isn't exclusive to her. That's a greater love that she's channeling and she's sharing. And that love that she's sharing with you is actually love that you have access to in your own right as well. So is she teaching you how to get in touch with that love and how to channel that love for yourself? And then eventually how to reconnect with that love within you so that you can become a source of that love here. Is she teaching you how to do what she does? And again, this had never occurred to this woman. She was a very intelligent woman and she knew exactly what she was about. I had a lot of respect for her. I really enjoyed this woman. And I know that she enjoyed me as well, confronting as I may have been. But she was really taking on board these questions that I was asking her and kind of questioning her whole motive and her beliefs about love. And basically my point was, is your guru teaching you how to do what they do and how to become your own guru, your own embodiment of love and light? Or are you dependent on your guru for their love and light? And is the only time that you experience a profound love like that in the presence of your guru? And I wasn't being judgmental or critical. This was from a purely innocent place because, again, this was my first experience of a guru or a guru's followers. And I genuinely wanted to know if they are learning what she was learning, how she was transformed through the experiences that she was having with her guru. It didn't occur to me that the experience that she was having was similar to the experience of going and sitting in a temple and basking in the love of a Christ or a God or a being that exists outside of the self, and gaining enlightenment and saving from an external source. And I'm just glad that she seemed ready for the questions that I was asking, because I can understand that asking those questions to someone that was not ready could have caused great harm. Because the path of devotion serves aspirants to a certain point. Being devoted to a source of love and being open to that source of love can be deeply healing, and absolutely does prepare the aspirant for the journey and the pointing inwards. But not everyone is yet at the point of sovereignty and self-mastery and realizing the God within in their spiritual journey. So this was a very intelligent and quite psychologically robust and self-inquiring woman that I was speaking with. And she considered all of the questions that I asked her and thanked me genuinely and wholeheartedly after that conversation for giving her much to ponder on. And then at the close of our time together some weeks later, once again. So my question to you now today is a similar one. Is the one or the place or the many that you are devoted to pointing you towards the God within? If you were drawn to this video, you've likely already meandered off the path of devotion, or you're ready to start exploring spirituality in a different kind of way. And so I ask you, are you learning how to be a source of love? Are you being guided within, rather than just idolizing and praising ones outside of you? Are you searching for the source of their goodness within you? Are you personally motivated to undertake the hard work, so that the realization, the healing, the deep dive, and the learning of the tools that are necessary to undertake the transformation to become all that you can be? And if you are following a teacher or a guru, are they actually teaching you? Are they encouraging you to become masters in your own right, providing you with the tools, the guidance, the mentoring, the teaching, and the example that is necessary, as well as the cold, clear, reflective mirrors, because we really need those as well so we can see ourselves clearly, so that you can stand beside them? Or are they attempting to keep the power dynamic in play? Do they get something from having you follow them? Does your devotion and your admiration cause their ego to become inflated? Do they feel special, superior, and as though they hold the keys to the kingdom and you can only get to the kingdom through them? Do you feel like you only have the experience of love, unity, oneness, connection, joy, healing, transformation in their presence? Or are they using those experiences in order to teach you how to do that for yourself? Because the path of self-mastery and transformation and spiritual sovereignty is a robust and practical path. It is multidimensional in its approach, considering physical, emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual well-being and healing, and integration and wholeness across the entirety of your being. It's about being an accurate, on the ground representation, embodiment, and example of who and what you uniquely are as the aspect of source that is expressing and experiencing through you. So it's not about making identical copies of the same thing over and over and over and over again. A true teacher has time and space to recognize the uniqueness that is you and is interested in the unique ideal that is yours and will tailor their approach to be specific for you, considering where you've been, where you've come from, who, how, and what you are now, and what your potential is that the soul and above is attempting to realize. The goal is to make you useful here and now, good for the planet, good for humanity, someone that others can look to and aspire to become more like. A true teacher is interested in uplifting and transforming this place for the better. And a true teacher would never be threatened by you. A true teacher would welcome your rising up, your transformation, and your betterment. It's only the ego that feels threatened because it's only the ego that wants to make it about me and mine. As soon as you move beyond the ego to soul identification, there's this overwhelming experience of oneness. So anything that's good for any part of source and anything that's good for the entirety of source is good for the self. So to try to cut other people down or keep people in their place is only ever about serving the ego of the one who calls themselves teacher. A true teacher seeks upliftment for all and will guide you through the difficult process of healing and awakening so that you can do the same for others. So is your guru a true teacher? Is their aim to uplift you, to help you to heal, and to teach you how to do what they do in the unique way that is yours? Or are you dependent on your guru, relying on them for your experience of love and upliftment? Do you feel oneness through them, never being guided back to the oneness that is innately yours? Are you guided to your own soul, to your own purpose, your own function? Or do you live and exist for them? Again, the path of devotion has served and continues to serve many. And the responsibility of realizing that you are your own savior can be heavy. It requires a robust psyche, a strong self-esteem, a truly self-sourced commitment, and a dedication that transcends all hardships. Because the journey of empowerment and transformation is wonderful when you've spent so long giving your power away and accumulating hurt and pain and dysfunction. It takes guts. Are you being prepared for that journey? Are you being guided and encouraged on that journey? Or are you becoming a copy of what has gone before you, a brick in the wall that holds up your guru? God is within, all that is. God within, grow strong. Grow true, my friends.